Hello, good people of St. Martin, and welcome to the Integrity Chambers video series, Let's Talk About Integrity. I'm your host, Kevin James, and today we're going to discuss the topic Government, Society, and Integrity. To give us a bit more insight into this subject matter, I have with us here today a policy advisor from the Integrity Chamber, Miss Amanda Browne. Amanda, it's an honor to have you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Right, so just to get started, I'd like you to tell the people of St. Martin a little bit more about yourself.
I have a very intriguing job. My job is to review and assess policies and procedures within government and its entities from an integrity perspective. And based on that review, I then provide advice meant to better the policy and procedure for the betterment of the government and St. Martin.
Great. So keeping it general, and then we'll zoom in as we go along. I do want to get an idea then, what does integrity look like for you from your perspective?
Integrity to me is treating others the way how I would like to be treated or the way I am expected to be treated. And it also means being honest, being open and honest about my feelings or what the situation is. Right. Integrity to me, a very important aspect also is knowing that the ones that are around me, my family and friends, they are aware of my values. They are aware of the things that I cherish and esteem. For instance, we have a strict no littering rule in my household. I mean, everyone knows we do not litter when Amanda is in the area. And there was a time where I was driving in a car with a couple of friends and someone threw something out of the window. And another friend yelled, "Do not litter. Amanda is in the car. Amanda is going to curse you."
Well, I think that's a pretty good reputation to have. It's nice that you're using your influence in a positive way.
Yes,
really good.
Yes. So, that is what is very important to me, that those around me know what I stand for and what I believe in.
What is integrity in civil service?
Okay. Well, a government that cares about its people ensures that there are rules in place that places the societal interests above the private interests of those that are in charge. So when we're talking about integrity in civil service, that is a government that ensures that its civil servants adheres to or complies with the rules that ensure the societal interest is placed above every other interest.
Why is that important?
Well, first of all, integrity in civil service ensures that there is equal treatment within society, that no matter who you are, when you approach a government organization for a particular service, you are treated the same way as everyone else. And that in itself bring about a level of trust between us as a society and, and government, because you can ensure, hey, I will be helped. I will be informed. Right. You understand? And that also ensures that there is a positive feeling, a feeling of satisfaction coming from the people towards government, a positive national image.
What does it look like on a day-to-day basis in practice? What does integrity in civil service look like?
There are several different aspects, but there are three very important aspects. Okay. And one, first of all, is the quality of service. The quality of service from the civil servants to society. That means if you approach a government organization looking for a particular service, how are you being treated? Can you approach the person that is currently working? Are they friendly? Are they answering your questions? Do you feel, a certain level of trust when you leave from, doing the service? How do you feel? The second very important aspect is fairness. Civil servants should ensure that they do not favor their family and friends above other members of the society that come to them for a particular service. For instance, if you come and you're standing in line waiting for a particular service, just because you know the person that is helping others, that doesn't mean that you should be able to jump the line. You being able to jump the line when others have been waiting for who knows how long is that equal treatment. And a third very important aspect is accountability. We are all human and we definitely have all made mistakes. And civil servants should also be, able to say, hey, I am so sorry, but the information that I told you we needed, that was not correct. Or, exactly. The information I provided was not correct. This procedure is taking longer than I initially told you that it would. They should be open for questions. They should be open for feedback. And, I think when we can have that open and honest dialogue with each other, as from civil servants to society, that plays a huge part in ensuring that there is integrity in civil service.
Yeah, it makes it easier for you to be understanding when things go wrong, when the person kind of brings you along with the process,
Right.
because then you can say, okay, well, that could happen.
Right.
Oftentimes in your own position, you face setbacks in the services that you're providing, and you want your client to be understanding, and it's also thinking, I like to use the metaphor of working for the people. If your boss gives you an assignment and you're facing struggles, you're going to let your boss know so that they can work along with you to adjust resources or find you whatever support you need to accomplish your tasks. And so we should think that same way towards the civil service. How can we work along with them to help them accomplish their tasks?
That is so true. And it reminded me of an experience I actually had this week where I was going through a particular process and I felt as if I was not being informed every step of the way. And it was a constantly, okay, you brought this document in, okay, but now it's time to bring another. And when I spoke to the person that was helping me, and she flat out let me know, hey, I am working for you, I am doing this for you, but I just want to let you know that this also has been a challenge for me because this is my first time doing this. Right. So as I am getting the report from higher up, I'm letting you know. So, and immediately I was like, hey, I understand that. I understand what it's like to just need a certain amount of grace in doing your job. And it was such a pleasant exchange between us. And I did not feel that frustration anymore.
Right. Patience becomes a little easier.
Right.
So we have a good understanding of what should be expected in terms of integrity from the civil service, but as you mentioned earlier, we also have a responsibility. And so that would be my next question then. What is the responsibility of the public as it relates to integrity?
You're right. Indeed, as members of society, we do have certain responsibilities. And the first very important one is participation. You have to be an active participant in a society that you are a part of. And one very important example of that is voting. That is your right as a citizen. Vote, go out there and vote, be active. Also, if you see things are not going the way how it's supposed to go in your society, in community, in government, then you have the right as a citizen to utilize the proper channels to make your voice heard and to let, government know, hey, this is not going the way as it should.
I agree with you. And, I think I want to touch on what you said about voting and really understanding the power of it and the value of it. Essentially, what voting does is it establishes your position as a leader, right? You're the one who's deciding who's going to be taking office. You're the one who's ultimately deciding your vision for the country that you live in and the kind of lifestyle that you'd like to have. And so in terms of participating, I think it would help for us as citizens, as residents, to not just think of ourselves as being served, but as serving, as leaders, as people who now have to let the civil servants that have humbly taken that position to work on our behalf, to let them know what it is that we prioritize, what's important to us, and how we're experiencing the decisions that are being made. And voting is one of the ways that we're able to do that.
It's a very important
right.
You
can't put a price on it.
You really
can.
And a second very important responsibility we have as a society is compliance, is to ensure that we are complying with the rules and regulations of the country. The request that, hey, we should file our taxes every year is just as important as stopping at a red light. It is necessary for the country. It is necessary for the progress of the country. And that is something that we as citizens, or we as a community, as a society, we should not take it for granted. It is important. There is a saying, an eye for an eye makes everyone blind.
I like that. Yeah.
And indeed, as I take it also as a member of society, I try my best when I'm entering a government building, when I need a specific service, I come in there with a smile, the biggest smile, and I let you know, hey, good morning, good afternoon. How are you doing? I so appreciate what you are doing. And let me tell you, just that sentence or just that, that positive interaction, it makes all the difference. And sometimes I walk away And that pleasant atmosphere, that pleasant attitude still remains, and it is given, is transferred to the next person.
It's contagious.
It is contagious.
Indeed.
And so I think that is very important to look at what we as a society, what we are supposed to do. Yeah. Another very important aspect as members of society is to remember that we have a particular civic duty. Now, it can be that there are certain rules that are not in place in St. Martin, but we know that we're not supposed to, do certain things. Or it could be that there are certain laws that are not well enforced. For instance, parking in places that are, that are not designated for that type of parking.
Right.
Don't do it.
Simple enough.
It's simple enough. Don't do it, because what you're doing is you're making the job of a civil servant that much harder. So let's just try to remember our duties as members of society. And like I stated back to, what integrity means for me, treat people in the way how you would like to be treated. You would not want anyone to make your job harder than it already is.
One of the things that helps me is to look at the bigger picture. Because in that moment, you're thinking about short-term gain. I have to go to this place. Parking on the sidewalk would be really convenient for me. It would save me time. I've got so much things to do today. I just want to run in and come out. But then you look at the bigger picture. You ask yourself the question, why? It may seem like an inconvenience for you, but why is there a law that says don't park on the sidewalks? Especially in the capital. This is the center, right. It's the landmark. It's supposed to represent, the hometown of St. Martin. You have tourists that come here. You have dignitaries and potential investors that are passing through, and we want to secure a certain experience for them. And something as simple as being able to walk down a sidewalk without having to navigate around vehicles, sometimes even stepping into the road, it's part of our national image. Right. It's part of our national income, So in that moment, you're just thinking short term about yourself.
Run in and run out.
Right, but zoom out. The rule is there because this impacts you as well, impacts the whole country which you live in.
And we can get it even a little bit more specific, What about the people that have mobility issues and they're in wheelchairs, or a mom with a stroller? How is she supposed to then navigate down to the on the road and then come around and then come back up? Or even say, for instance, in front of the store that you park, somebody has a medical emergency, the ambulance needs to park, or there is a fire and you park close to a hydrant. And the firemen have to use that hydrant. All of these things are things that we need to consider. I understand the issue about convenience, but let us not make, the job of the civil servant. Let us make St. Martin a easier and a wonderful place and a more friendly and approachable place to live in.
Well, Amanda, thank you so much for taking the time to share with us. And to the people of St. Martin, I hope that this conversation was beneficial to you. And I would like to thank you for supporting us in our mission to build integrity for future generations. Stay tuned for the next video in our series, Let's Talk About Integrity.